Okay, so we have 270 hero. Okay. And you... Wait, hang on. Where's your volume at? Hello, speak a little bit so I can see your volume. Yo.
Right.
Yo. Yeah, okay, you're good, Can I check the other window? Oh yeah, I can do that here. And then boom, and then just boost you like a little bit. There you go, bam. Alright, you're at 41. Okay, is this mobbing setup, bossing setup? What is it? What are we looking at?
This is boss.
Boss, okay. What is that? Crit at 15. That does not look good.
So this, because I just needed the critical rate. But then, I'm sorry, that was for the mob. This is my, for bossing.
Okay, yeah, 13 in crit. What's going on? You got 10 in invulnerability. You got 96 with sharp eyes. What's your whole... Where's your crit rate coming from?
Mainly Legion.
Yeah, Legion and Lynx has got to be some crit, right? Show me that.
Give me a sec.
Oh, you can go, if you press escape, it'll immediately, like, bring up your menu for the future. So you can keep your hands on your keyboard.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and then...
Yeah, so my Legion board's all fucked up, but...
It is, yeah. Okay.
So that would be for boss and that would be for training.
Yeah, so the question is, like, if you get your critical rate that high, like, if you need to go past 10, typically, in your hyperstats, then you're losing a lot of value there, and it'd be better to just put more pieces in the grid instead, because then you get more score for leveling up your other hyperstat points instead, and you get your value back. So same thing like what you have now, like you have the strength at 10, that's a bit high, because the strength in there is like final strength. It doesn't get multiplied by percentage stats. So usually I hover that at like 5 at the highest. And I don't know if you have any points in attack on the bottom.
Yeah,
around 7. Yeah, attack is okay because that does get multiplied, but it's still, I wouldn't get it past like 5 or 6 either. So I think it could be do with just like redoing those, kind of like figuring out your base, like critical rate and IED are your fundamental base stats, right? Those are very important. And making sure that the puzzle for critical rate and IED is fixed. That's like the foundation of building all of your damage on. Because if you're not always critting and you're not getting enough IED through to a boss, then all of the other damage and all of the other stuff that you're making, you're gonna get reduced efficiency on that. So you're gonna have to work harder. You have to gamble harder, train harder, get luckier in order to make all of the other ones work.
Gotcha. What about my matrix? Should I be leveling decent combat orders, or any of
I personally don't. I leave all the decents. The only thing I level is decent holy symbol, and then like rope lift, Urda's will, like blink. Those I level because rope lift is 1 stat per level, blink is 1 attack per level, and Urda's will's cooldown goes down a lot, so that helps you with uses on like black mage and stuff. But like decent hyper body, I don't even put in. There's a few classes where it works, but hero's not one of them, as far as I know.
Right. And then basically, so buff.
Can I see your link skills real quick? Which ones you select?
So this, well, not around. So there's that, but.
Oh yeah, so there's some crit missing there for now, right?
Yeah. So I think I'm at 100 now.
Are you over 100? Yeah, you're at 113, right? Yeah. So that 113. That basically means that your visual hyperstats critical rate could probably be at like 2 or 3 instead. So that'll save up like a whole lot of hyperstat points, and they can all go into... But this is mobbing setup, right?
Yeah, this is mobbing.
Yeah, and if you go into mobbing setup in your hyperstats as well, so like... and in your Legion, if you select those 3 for mobbing real quick, just to see the number.
What's that? What do you want me to do?
Put everything in mobbing, so you can see them all at the same time. So the Lynx is in mobbing now. You put the hyperstats also in mobbing, and then the Legion also in mobbing, so that we're comparing for the same situation, right? Because what happens is that you build like a setup, and then you kind of just keep it, and you keep piling on, but every now and then you gotta basically take a step back and redo it, because your critical rate now, I think, is like 125 or something. If you hover to the right, you can see the total number on the... Yeah, it's 119. Yeah, but you have 15 in crit rate right now, right? So you could basically... How much is level 15 in crit rate? How much does that give you?
In this is 25.
Yeah, so if it gives you 6%, which would be level 6, right, would be 7%. Then you have 9 levels of insane amounts of stats that you could take out. And if you scroll down, that means you could probably go way higher on the EXP instead. Because right now you got 2 in bonus EXP. But if you can keep your kill speed just as high, you could go... So what you want as a foundation, if you are okay with killing, right, you can kill everything, but you want to get the most EXP out of it, you probably want to have hyperstats that look something like critical rate up to 6, and then critical damage up to like... and then bonus EXP probably up to 15, and then the rest of the points distributed evenly, roughly, between critical damage, regular damage, and normal monster damage. That'll...
So there's just 19% in here that shouldn't be in here.
In this setup, you could get rid of 19, and maybe if you go for like a little bit of crit rate in the current, in the New Age skill, you could even temporarily maybe go even lower, and then that would mean that you could go even higher in other stats, but that would be temporary, so typically you don't want to rely on that too much. But you have like, you don't want to really, like if you're considering like going past 10 on a skill in the hyperstats, that means that everything else that's like roughly on the same level, that's also already going up to 10. Because right now, like you have nothing in damage, but you have 15 in normal monster damage. But if you were to go 10 in damage and 10 in normal monster damage, you'd get more damage, and you'll have more points left.
Gotcha.
Right? Because like the damage goes on the right side, you see damage percent there, the red number where it says 46. So that's where the damage from the hyperstat adds there.
Okay.
And then that number gets added with normal monster damage if you're attacking normal monsters, and gets added with the boss damage if you're attacking boss damage. So that damage is something that you want both when you're mobbing and when you're bossing.
Sure.
And that's usually because it works on both of those situations. That's why, you know, it gives you like 3 points per level instead of 4 on the other two, because they're specific, so they have less efficiency, so therefore they give you a bit more for the same levels.
So I'm getting a bigger bang for buck through hyperstats versus Legion. Like if I'm going to waste points towards critical rate, I'm not going to waste these. I'll go through the Legion.
So yeah, basically in Legion it's like 1% is kind of the same. So it's similar with hyperstats. The first thing I usually do is look at the link skills and see which are like the free ones, and then set those up. Because, you know, the amount of link skills that really give you a lot of value is usually like 10 or fewer, so you can get all of those in. And then once all of those in, I'll look at like how much crit do I still need from there. And then you want to look at like what would be the value in the Legion grid, and what would be the value in the hyperstats. Yeah, so, but when you're looking at comparatively in the Legion grid, like one block is 1% crit, but one block is also 1% normal monster damage. But one level in the hyperstats is like 1 crit up to 5 and then 2 past. But normal monster damage is like 3 and then 4, right? But for the same amount of points in hyperstats. So comparatively, in your Legion grid, critical is cheaper, and in your hyperstats, normal monster damage and damage is cheaper there. So that's why the balance will be shifted that way.
Alright, and then for my equips...
Mm-hmm.
So here I'm almost maxed this out. So
yeah, that's easy mode, yeah.
So my CRA is not 22 yet, because I ran out of Mezzos.
Mm-hmm.
So I have...
What do you, like, what kind of content are you doing?
Trying to get to endgame bosses.
Mm-hmm. But what does that mean? Like, which one can you solo so far? Which ones are you doing in party? And which ones are, like, the ones you're looking at for next?
So I'm pretty much partying from Lucid up.
Yeah, hard Lucid up is all partying, and then... On Chaos Slime, probably? Are you doing that solo?
Yeah,
or?
Chaos Slime. Oh, no, not solo. That's partied.
Yeah, yeah.
Gloom party, Hillow's party, Dark Knell's party.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And then everything else is just solo, super easy. You do hard Lucid, hard Lotus, hard Damien?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've done like normal Gloom and normal Dark Knell as well? Like you can do those easily?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And the parties is like full party, or is like 4-man party, or?
No, full party.
Full party, okay. So that's really fast runs then. Just nuking it.
Pretty much, just bind and burst and pray.
Bind and burst and pray. Okay, gotcha. Have you ever done like a test to see how close you are to soloing, like for Vihela, for example?
No. When I did
Okay.
a BA, I rolled. This was before I hit this stat. It was like 90 bill per second, and it was like almost 4 trill for the 40-second rotation.
Mm-hmm. And how much stat are you now? You in the early
42,
40s?
and then if I use Blessing, 47.
Yeah. Okay. So like for my hero now, I mean my hero is now at 50k stat, but he's like soloing Hard Vihela in about in under 20 minutes, or like 17 and a half minutes, I think.
Is that 50k buffed or raw?
Raw, yeah. So with buffs, I go up to like 55ish, yeah. So that's still like a step bigger, but I think with adjusting a bunch of your hyperstats and a bunch of your stuff, but he's level 250, so I'm not getting too much bonus damage on Hard Vihela. I'm 252 now, but you'll be getting like the full bonus damage, so you will be hitting harder with the same stat than him. But it's something worth considering if you can like solo or duo the boss instead, if it's something that you wanna, if it's something you have time for, to give yourself more chance for drops, right? So you have to share it with fewer people. And especially when 6 job comes out, right? It's definitely, once you've got some practice under your belt as well with a smaller party, it's something that you can definitely do more realistically than with 6 job skills and just blow it up. Because I'm thinking more of like towards the future, a big problem, a big bottleneck is getting backups, right? And if you are doing everything in full party, then, you know, you're, whatever progress there is already, you're dividing by 6.
Yeah, that's my problem now. I have basically no backups for nothing. So even if I wanted to send something, I couldn't.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But that's like my rings are 18.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly I just didn't push because I don't have backups. And then
Gotcha.
same with my Dami. Everything else is 17. My
Mm-hmm.
CRA is 20.
Mm-hmm.
And same, this is only 17. Everything else is 17.
Oh, we got eye patch, yeah. What face did you, what eye did you have before this? The black beam mark? What is that,
This.
is it a 17? Okay, gotcha, yeah. Okay. And arcanes are at 17?
Yeah, besides just the cape, just because
16.
we had him as us.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So what's the income looking like? Are you working on boss meals, or are you just mainly trying to
I have
to
two
grind
boss
on the
moves.
main?
I have the Fire
Mhm.
Poison from last Hyperburn, and then a Buccaneer.
Mhm.
And then my new Hyperburn is the Nightwalker for a boss meal, so I'll only have
Yeah.
3 boss meals and then the main.
Mhm. But you're mainly gonna go start grinding this week for 6 jobs, so most of the money is
Yeah.
gonna be made through this character, right? And you've got good drop and meso gear set up for that.
Yeah, I have the 100% Mezzo,
Mhm.
and then my drop's not that good, I think. So I have.
Because the items from the that's nice. Because the items from the 6 jobs is gonna be like drop rate dependent, right? So a lot of people were looking for high drop rate so they could speed up that process. I don't know if you have a drop. Do you have a drop familiar?
No, I don't. It's small drop, but yeah.
Small drop, yeah.
Familiar
Because one of
familiar.
the because there's 2 factors, right? One is like, are you even doing all the bosses? Are you getting your mass entries? But the second one is like, what's your drop rate when you're doing it? So if you're running in a party and someone else has more drop rate, then you might be getting more value out of that there. But if you're going to be running stuff more solo, then you also have to make sure that you have the drop rate to account for that and to make sure that those runs are more valuable there, right?
At what
Otherwise,
point would I be switching out my Gullix for pitch? Because I mean, this is basically useless for me right now, correct?
yeah, you like if you had money, then whenever there's a shining, you kind of just like send it and see if it goes, and if it doesn't go, it's whatever, and if it goes, you sit on it until you have more pieces. Most people will switch over once you've got like 6 set, 5 or 6 set. But some pieces, of course, can switch out quicker, right? So if you have a source, you pretty much immediately switch out whatever second pendant you have. If you hit the berserk, you switch out the twilight mark pretty much. Because those can go like one by one, and the eye patch same thing, book same thing. So if you hit those 4, then you do switch them as you get them, or if you get the black mage badge, right, you switch those. But then you're already at 5, so then an earring could switch in. If you get a damaged heart, that could switch in, that kind of stuff.
So the Gullix set's basically gonna be the last to switch out.
Yeah, well, yeah, or eternal, depending on how lucky you are and how far you start running the other bosses, right?
Yeah. So, so if I gather up some money, should I send my CRA to 22, or just keep saving for something else?
I think so. If I'm looking at this, you could start sending on CRA and everything because we do have Shining coming on. So you could do that first. Is this all the money you have, or do you have like more in storage?
Oh, you're looking at all of it.
Yeah. So at this point, I feel like if you start tapping CRA past 20, 20 to 21 is pretty free, so it depends on how risk averse you are. But with this kind of money, I would be investing first and foremost in getting the drop rate up in general for my whole account, so that I can start like getting some actual backups, so that you can, because backups are money, right? If you have more backups, then you have more options, and when you have more options, you can take lower risk options, and you can do the things that are more cost efficient. And if you don't have the drop rate, like not from the familiar, you don't have drop rate in your inner ability, and you don't have as many drop lines, you can get very far in the game. You can get to where you are, but getting past this is going to take, again, you know, if you have to run with a party, and then you have like a factor of 6, something that takes someone 3 or 4 months will take you like 18 to 24 months, right? And now you're looking at something that is kind of annoying to something that's fucking demotivating as hell. So I think going to the foundation, so number one, getting sure that your crit rate in both your mobbing and your bossing is like completely on point, and that you, with the leftover points, you're setting it up more balanced so that you get more value from the stuff that you already have. Same thing for the bossing, and then making sure that the IED is good. I think your IED is good, but make sure you just double check that as well. Probably a little bit more love towards Legion to build that out, to make sure that your link skills and your Legion grid fills out a bit more so that you can cover that better. And then working on the drop rate gear to make sure that, so I would definitely have one set that can do 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop, or in your case 5 and 5, right? Because you at least have the pendant for double.
Yeah, so my meso's up to 100 with drop, with a coupon is like mid 200s. So what would I be trying to get that to? Closer to 300 or 400?
So 400 is like pretty end game, honestly. But you want to get so you'd want to get from the familiar, try to get the rare line. So just like increases item drop rate. That's a 50%. So with the coupon together, that would be 100. And then if you're doing stuff where you specifically just need drop, probably getting at least like 7 lines or something. So you get like 140. So that can get to 240, and then the holy symbol should probably be another 15% or something, so 255. And then you pop like a small WAP, so you get to 275, like 275 to 280 or something. I'm trying to compare to where my characters are at, but like yeah, very high 200s to low 300s is probably where you wanna at least be at, so that in a realistic amount of time you can get, you know, you can increase your chance of kind of treasure rings, you can get more dominators. And the other thing is also you get some primals here and there. And when you build up more characters in your account and you do like normal Arcaria more as well, the primals, every single primal is basically, if you have the resources, is also a Meister ring, right? And then that takes some pressure off of needing all the kind of treasure rings, because then you can use those instead to fill in the gap and use them as fodder for high star superior and that kind of stuff. And you know, you get more superior belts, more superior earrings, more pitched ring boxes. You know, it's really a drop rate game at this point.
And then the last thing, I can 1 to 2 hit here. But that's with full damage gear. Would it be worth training there, or going back to hotel in full meso gear and just grinding out mesos with a slower EXP rate?
So there's 3 things, I think. One is like where you're at with familiars and you still want to get the large drop, right? That's one thing. Even a normal drop, but then into a large drop, and those don't drop in Grandis at all. And then the other one is like the value of drops, so meso and drops while you're training versus the EXP in there. I think the EXP for you is probably not going to be as important if you're trying to build out your 6th job, right? So the question is going to be more, once the 6th job stuff comes out, is like, are you prioritizing drops to build out 6th job, or are you going to be prioritizing the familiar first? And as annoying as it is, I think if you get the familiar first and then increase your drop rate, then all of your efficiency of all of your 6th job farming you do after that will increase. So if you like kind of like order of operations, I think it's more important for now to try to get your at least the rare line for drop rate, and then work on the drop rate from the equips and stuff, and then but also try to work towards the epic line, right? Because that's 100% drop rate. Once you hit that one, then that just helps everything so much. And then all of the time you spend then right? It's the same thing like getting your crit rate and your IED set up properly, right? If you do that, then you get way more efficiency from all of the other upgrades you make and for all of the other damage that you're doing. Same thing with the drop rate. Like if you make sure that your foundation of your drop rate is high, then your efficiency per time, your value per time of all the other training and farming of every single boss kill you do after that is just all going to go up. And it will take things that will otherwise take you like 2 years, it'll take it down to like 1 year or to like 10 months or to 8 months, right? And because the further I think you keep going the way you're going now, the more you'll end up with just certain things that just aren't going to go anywhere for too long, and it's going to be too demotivating for you to keep playing, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill now where
Yeah.
went like 5 weeks without an arcane drop, and I was about to just shut the game
Yeah.
off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't like. Well, the arcane drops is a bit different because that's not affected by drop rate, so that's just pure RNG. But if you were to get no arcane drops, but you get a bunch of other drops and you still have a bunch of other stuff to work on, then it doesn't feel that bad, or not as bad as if you're not getting arcane drops, right? If you have 1 or 2 pitch, or you have 1 or 2 ring boxes, or you have like 6 Kana treasures and 3 dominators in your inventory, that feels different, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
and that's, I feel like
yeah.
I'm not that, like I'm end game, but close enough where if an event goes bad, I basically wasted 6 months just to have it decrease.
Exactly. So you want to decrease the chance of that happening. The way you do that is by having more backups, so you can have cheaper options to upgrade on. And the way that you do that is by killing the bosses every time with as much drop rate as you can. So I think just it ultimately always comes back to the drop rate. So I would get the rare familiar for drop rate. So reveal all the rare cards that you have until you find that one. Mezzo towards making the drop rate set. So if you have a 5 and 5 set, but also if you have spare pieces, just go for extra drop rate on those, so that when you're killing like boss boxes and stuff like that, you can make a set for anywhere between 7 and 10 lines of total drop rate. You already have the double on the greed pendant, so you could make a full 10 set, just full 9 accessories with drop rate, so that every time you open a boss box, you've got that 200% coming in, plus a coupon, plus a mini wop, plus whatever familiar you have at that point, and you'll be well over 300 at that point. And then anything, up to, I think 394 or something is the highest that you can do solo if you don't have any in your inner ability. But anything, 300 and up will just, it's compounding over like weeks and months and like a year. Like you will see so many more drops. And then, like I said, if you have more drops, you can take financially more efficient upgrading paths, and that will just make it so that you just need less money to make the same upgrades.
All right, and then the last thing, my legendary ability. Should I even bother chasing boss damage, or keep this for now?
You got 116k. Well, we just had an event, right? So it's not a good time to work on that anyway.
I used like 1.4 mil to even get these shit lines.
What did you have?
I don't even. I like complete dog shit for the second line, and then my crit damage I think was like, I don't know, 7.
Okay.
So it wasn't that big of a gain besides this, but I couldn't find boss damage.
Gotcha. Yeah, for this, there's like so if you have this inner ability, I would be okay with that. If this was more like, let's say, a bossing mule that was like 250 something, and maybe you were gonna go to 260 for like 6 job, but it's really gonna stay a bossing mule. If it's gonna stay your main character, I think it's more important that you chase those unique prime lines. So for the future, I think for now you just stand on your inner ability and you keep going until you have like, I would say probably on like until what you had, so like 1.5 to 2 mil honor. I think I wouldn't touch it until you have that much. And then the advised way to go about it is to use circulators to get your prime unique line first. So either 20% crit or 10% boss or 8% damage to debuffed, whichever one you hit. If you have a really big legion, actually, as a hero, eventually you don't need critical rate anymore in the inner ability. So it'll depend a little bit on how long that takes and how much work you do on your legion before then. But one of those 3 lines typically, or sometimes 15% drop as well, because like I said, drop rate, it's really a drop rate game. And if the difference is 8% damage when you have like 600% damage, or 15% more drop rate when you have under 400% drop rate, that's a much bigger chunk, right? So any of those lines hitting on a unique line first, then you pick that, so you roll away from your attack speed, but you do that when you have at least like 1.5 to 2 mil, so you have a really good chance of getting your attack speed back, and during a 50% off event, so that right after you roll and get your attack speed back. So if you could switch this in for good prime unique line plus attack speed, that's what you want, and then you just save up, or you just doom roll on that 3rd line to get whatever the hell on there, basically.
Yeah, I did mine kind of a little backwards. I used those cash up rolls to get the attack speed, and then there was just rolling, waiting to get the 2nd and 3rd line.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do, and it's faster that way to get to like a mid game to like early late game iterability. That's faster. But if you want to get to a truly like late game and end game iterability, you have to take a little bit of a detour that way, because this way you can spend more. You're basically buying rolls with honor exp. You're buying them with Mezzo instead, and then you're using your honor exp to like kind of like finish it off. But the way that you did it, you're kind of like buying the rolls with honor exp, and then when you run out, you run out. There's no left, right? But with Mezzo, you can just keep going with the circulators. So that's why that's a preferred method of doing it.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no no instant tap this. But I would say definitely, once you get that crit and that IED and that stuff redone, I think you'll already find that your character is going to be hitting way harder. Because a lot of the hyperstep points now are in like inefficiency going up to 15. I don't think you want to see a number 15 unless your character's like 285 or something. Otherwise, the highest you want to see is probably like a 12 or a 13. You want to like bring them up a bit more evenly with each other.
And then moving forward, if I have the Mezzo, should I just send all my pitch items right away as soon as I get them, if I get them?
So I would look at the pieces that you have as alternatives to do that, because I'm pretty risk aversive. So like if I get so let's say my current piece is 17-star Black Beam Mark, right? And I find an eye patch, then be like, okay, what do I do? So okay, if it's my main character, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get the eye patch, I want to be able to use it. But if you lock in at 17 and the potential, you lock in the flame and everything, now every single tap is like, to me, is like a nightmare because if it booms, then you lose more value there. The more you start to rely on a piece, if it goes away, the more you're losing. So I would look at the Black B mark and be like, okay, what amount of stars on the other piece would I be okay with if I lose it? Then I'm fine, right? So I could say, like, if you have this eye patch now, I could say I'm going to just get Black Beam Mark backups, or even just one, and just tap it and see if it goes to 20. If it goes to 20, well, now I have a stronger piece in the Black Beam Mark than the eye patch, so I don't really need to use the eye patch, right? It's not even that useful. It's cool and it's pitched, but it's not really useful for me. So now I can be like, okay, I'm going to see if I can get the eye patch up to at least like 19 to make sure that it's better. And then when it gets to 19, be like, okay, well, now I have a stronger piece. If it booms before then, well, you still made an upgrade, right? Now you have a stronger eye accessory. And if it does go, well, now you have a 19 pitch. You can use that. And now the 20 Black Beam Mark, if it did hit before, right? In this scenario, now that can be a drop or mezzo piece that gives you more damage when you're mobbing. So that way you can kind of, even though it's a different piece, since it occupies the same space, you can kind of use it as a backup that way.
All right.
But yeah, that's the thing where you kind of have to set your own limit and, you know, your own risk at that. I'm very risk aversive, but I know other people like tapping. But yeah, I'm always looking at very like long-term stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, my time is pretty limited. So once I get something, I usually just go to boom it, and then
Yeah, and up to a certain point, it is kind of fun that way. But like you said, you're gonna get to a point where now there's like 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months of progress that kind of just led to nothing, and that can be hugely demotivating. Which, you know, that might be the push that you need to go out and touch some grass, which for some people might be a good idea as well. But it also, I think it's unfortunate. It's more importantly, kind of avoidable, right? Because if you have a slightly more strategic approach from the beginning, then you can reduce the amount of situations where that can happen.
Yep. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. If you have any additional questions when you're going through the hyper stats and all that stuff, because it's a lot of moving around and the Legion grid building and everything, just let me know.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, good luck.
All right, take care.
Yeah, bye-bye. There we go. Wow. Another short and sweet, quick session. I could have gone super more in-depth with everything. But if you see hyperstats like that, there's definitely some efficiency that you're losing there, and you want to move some stats around. So in this case, the mobbing damage will be going up a lot if you move that critical rate and that monster damage, normal monster damage and damage around. And hopefully, with doing that, it'll also not necessarily have to pick between damage gear and mobbing gear. But with the upgrading of the mobbing gear that's coming in, maybe the drop rate and the mezzo obtain will be enough with all of those changes to increase the baseline damage so that you can make more money and get more drops and get the EXP that you deserve for your character. So don't neglect those fundamentals. Might be boring and it's a lot of work, and setting up the entire legion like this and moving the pieces and making those perfect setups for all of your different scenarios, and the hyper stats and the fact that you have to click one little up arrow at a time. It's super tedious, I get it. But you put in the hard work to build your legion and to build all your levels, and the numbers are right there, the damage is right there, but you gotta put it in the right configuration to make it work for you optimally so that you can, if you get more efficiency out of it, then all of the other upgrades, like I mentioned, you won't have to work as hard for those. Otherwise, you're going to have to put overtime into those and push items past their limit and sometimes to their breaking point to make sure that you can compensate for the other stats. So hopefully with that and with the extra point of view there, you can get those a little bit more clean and get that extra drop rate so that you can get more backups. Because otherwise what will happen is you will hit that wall where your money starts running out, your backup starts running out, and there's not everything really that you feel like you can improve on. So yeah, if you're in a similar situation, hopefully that helped you to see a little bit of progress there. And if not, let me know. So yeah, if you want a session like this, or like another one, or longer, or about different stuff, maybe about bossing mechanics, anything like that, you can hit me up. You can check !coaching in the chat. And if you want to win a session, just leave a comment with your Discord name saying that you would like to win, and you could be the lucky person next week when I pick the winners. So give it a try. Thanks for checking it out. Or find me on twitch.tv/Scardor. Usually the chat is right here, but now it's there. You see that? See how I did that? The magic of OBS. All right. Thanks for checking it out, and see you on the next one.